They promised it would protect the nation. They said it was for safety. But what really happened behind closed doors was never meant to be revealed. In times of fear, people trust authority more than truth, and America has seen many moments where fear changed everything. This story begins not on a battlefield, but in quiet rooms where decisions were made in whispers, decisions that reshaped freedom without most people realizing it. It started with a threat, or at least that's how it was presented. The public was told danger was everywhere, invisible and unstoppable. News channels repeated the same words every hour. Fear spread faster than facts, and when people are afraid, they stop asking questions. That's when the decision was introduced. It wasn't announced loudly, it didn't arrive with dramatic speeches. It came wrapped in the language of protection, security, and patriotism. The message was simple: give up a little freedom now and you'll be safer later. Most people agreed. What they didn't know was how much later would cost them. Behind the scenes, emergency powers were expanded quietly. Surveillance grew, not just on enemies, but on ordinary citizens. Phone calls, letters, movements, things that once belonged to private life slowly became data, collected, stored, analyzed. Not because everyone was guilty, but because technology finally made it possible. History books often describe this moment as a necessary response, but internal records tell a different story. Many officials knew the threat was smaller than presented. Some reports warned that fear was being exaggerated, but fear was useful. Fear creates obedience, and obedience creates control. As time passed, the temporary measures never ended. Laws written for emergencies became permanent. What was once unthinkable became normal. People adjusted. They always do. The most disturbing part wasn't that power expanded. It was that almost no one noticed when it did. Those who questioned it were labeled suspicious. Whistleblowers were silenced, not always with force, but with shame. Careers ended, reputations destroyed. The message was clear: silence is safer than truth. Meanwhile, the system grew smarter. Algorithms replaced human judgment. Decisions were made by patterns, not people. Innocent lives were flagged. Mistakes happened, but there was no face to blame, only systems hidden behind secrecy. And still, the public was told it was all for protection. Years later, declassified documents revealed something chilling. The original goal had shifted. It was no longer just about safety. It was about influence. Information is power, and those who control information control behavior. The line between protection and manipulation had quietly disappeared. What makes this story darker is how familiar it feels. There was no single explosion, no clear villain, just slow change wrapped in good intentions. Freedom wasn't taken, it was traded, piece by piece, until people forgot what they had given away. Historians now debate whether this was inevitable. Some say technology made it unavoidable. Others say it was a choice, one made without public consent. But one fact remains undeniable. The greatest changes in history don't always arrive with violence. Sometimes they arrive with promises. Promises that sound reasonable, promises that feel safe. And by the time the truth becomes clear, the system is already too big to stop. So the real question isn't whether this decision protected the nation. The real question is whether fear was used to reshape society in ways no one voted for, and whether history will ever tell that story honestly. Because when protection becomes control, and safety becomes surveillance, the darkest truths are not the ones hidden from enemies. They are the ones hidden from the people themselves.